स्क्रीन विजुअल है सर आपकी? ओके यार, एकदम परफेक्ट है। स्टार्ट करें सर?
हाँ ठीक है, करिए करिए जल्दी।
ओके सर, थैंक यू थैंक यू।
Education is a manifestation of perfection already existing in a man. Good morning, respected manager sir, honorable principal ma'am, esteemed resource person, admired teachers, and all my dear friends. I, Divya Kumari, and I, Neha Yadav, feel blessed to be a part of this program, and we will be your host throughout this program.
Education determines the quality of an individual's life. It improves one's knowledge, skills, and develops the personality and attitude. And it is our teacher who shows us the right path to lead a life of an valuable individual in a society. Student and Student and teacher are the two main pillars of the whole education system. The influence a teacher has on their student is huge. The Ministry of Education, to recognize this contribution of teachers and to take new education policy 2020 a step forward, is celebrating Shikshak Parv from September 5th to September 17th.
And to celebrate this occasion, today we have Professor Anup Rajput, Head, Department of Elementary Education, NCERT, with us to deliver a special lecture on competency-based education, a mandate of NEP 2020. In our Indian tradition, any event is incomplete without offering devotional homage and prayers to our deities. So, before we proceed with our program, we would like to call upon the stage students of BA department to commence the program with Mangalacharan.
त्वमादिदेवः पुरुषः पुराण त्वमादिदेवः पुरुष वेदासि वेद्यं च परं च धाम वेदासि वेद्यं च परं च धाम त्वया ततं विश्वमनन्तरूप आदिदेवः पुरुषः पुराण त्वमादिदेवः वायुर्यमोऽग्निः वरुणः शशाङ्क वायुर्यमोऽग्निः वरुणः शशाङ्क प्रजापतिस्त्वं प्रपितामहस्य नमो नमस्ते तु सहस्रकृत्वा नमो नमस्ते तु सहस्रकृत्वा पुनश्च भूयो नमो नमस्ते त्वमादिदेवः पुरुषः पुराण त्वमादिदेवः त्वमादिदेवः त्वमादिदेवः।
What a peaceful environment Mangalacharan has created. Now, we would like to request Dr. Kaushalendra sir to come up here and welcome the dignitaries present among us.
हेलो, या गुड मॉर्निंग। हाँ अभी कर रहे हैं, आज घंटे उनका है, someone else is doing that. हाँ वी हैव टू गेट द, हाँ उसमें तो लग रहा है अभी तो होप है, बट लेट मी जस्ट इंक्वायर कि ये बुक कितना सारा कहाँ से डिलीवर हुआ है, दैट आई एम इंक्वायरिंग। हाँ अरे अच्छा, तो कहाँ अभी?
एडमिट कर लीजिए, एडमिट कर लीजिए।
अच्छा हाँ 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 ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है, ओके ओके, अरे यार ठीक है ठीक है।
सर प्रोफेसर अनूप सर, आपका माइक ऑन है सर।
हाँ हाँ ओके या
बात करें सर?
यस यस या
ओके सर, थैंक यू, थैंक यू। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपाणि विद्यारंभ करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। Today we are assembled here on the virtual platform to celebrate Shikshak Parv. As we all are aware, every year Teachers' Day is celebrated on 5th September to commemorate the birth anniversary of former President of India, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, an accomplished scholar and academician. The idea behind celebration of Shikshak Parv is to acknowledge the dignity of teachers, teaching profession and contribution of teachers in nurturing young minds and nation building. We are extremely delighted to have with us Professor Anup Kumar Rajput sir from NCRT New Delhi. We welcome you sir on behalf of our college as well as from our Department of Education. We welcome our guardian and manager Dr. Sasikant Dixit sir in this program. Sir is always a source of inspiration for all of us. We welcome you sir in this program. We welcome our respected Principal Madam, Professor Rachna Dubey ma'am. This academic venture is planned and is being executed under the able guidance and leadership skill of Professor Rachna Dubey ma'am. We welcome you ma'am in this program. We also welcome our respected faculty members and students from different departments of our college. Once again, I welcome you all in this special lecture. Thank you. Manager sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
बोलिए।
Okay sir, start.
First, are you audible?
Yes, you are audible sir.
First of all, I would like to congratulate the principal of the Arya
नहीं, चलना।
and Cabinet Competency Kumar ji for organizing this Shikshak for you. And the subject competency based education, the mandate of NEP 2020. And you have invited Professor Anup Kumar Rajput ji of NCRT to deal it. I hope all the faculty members and students will get time with this lecture. I won't take much time and because this is organized by the Department of Education. So I also congratulate all the faculty members of education under IQAC. Dr. Bhavana Dwivedi is chairman. I also welcome and congratulate Varanasi for participating. And I won't take much time. I want that the students should learn more from Rajput, and he must be knowing that previously our president of the college, Dr. Shikshak, was also from the NCERT.
Thank you, sir, for your blessing. Now we would like to request Professor Rachna Dubey ma'am, Principal of Arya Mahila PG College, to shower us with her blessings.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Okay, thank you for inviting me. But I think the question is, it will be better if I speak at the end because you're like already the time 15 to 20 minutes has passed, and Anup
Yes.
sir is eager, he's waiting for his chance. So let him, because he's the main resource person and he is going to throw light on the topic competency-based education, a mandate of NEP 2020. So let sir share his knowledge, his expertise on this topic, and later on I will join. Okay?
Okay,
Sir,
ma'am.
on
Thank
behalf
you.
of the college and the students and the participants, I render my warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such inspiring words. Besides the quality of education,
And
education policy in this country also plays.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, start.
Besides the quality of education, educational policies of a country also plays pivotal role and shapes the educational environment of a country. It was introduced by the Government of India by PM Indira Gandhi in 1968. The second by then PM Rajiv Gandhi in year 1986. The third one and the latest one by PM Narendra Modi in 2020.
New Education Policy 2020 was released by Ministry of Human Resources Development on July 29, 2020, after it was approved by the Union Cabinet. NEP 2020 is 21st century's first education policy in India. The policy is aimed at transforming the Indian education system to meet the need of 21st century.
Being students, we feel we won't be able to do justice by introducing to you all today's resource person. So we would like to call Dr. Kaushalendra sir to introduce Professor Anup Kumar Rajput, Head Department of Elementary Education, NCERT, New Delhi.
Thank you, Dikshit. Today's special lecture, am I audible? Oh. Today's special lecture is focused on competency-based education. A mandate of NEP 2020 is being organized by Department of Education under the aegis of IQAC Arya Mahila PG College. Our resource person for this session is Professor Anup Kumar Rajput sir, Head Publication Division, NCERT, New Delhi. Professor Anup Kumar sir has PhD in Applied Mathematics from HP University Simla, has gained expertise in mathematics education and ICT in education through his continuous interaction with large number of students, teachers, teacher educators, in addition to development of number of books for children and teachers of all level of education. He conducted many teaching training programs using technologies, using video conferencing and other ICTs. Presently working at National Council of Educational Research and Training, New Delhi, in its elementary education department as a professor of mathematics. He is also coordinating early school mathematics program of Government of India. He has more than 100 research and monographic articles published in international and national journals of mathematics and mathematics education. He has authored more than 20 textbooks in mathematics for students at primary, secondary, senior secondary, university level, including NCERT textbooks. He has wide international exposure as an expert and international evaluator for Taiwan International Science Fair, Taiwan, Mauritius Institute of Education, and Asia Science Educators Academy, Korea. He is looking forward to build a community which can use mathematical modeling for better society and can promote learning for early mathematics through MOOCs. Professor Rajput has coordinated the development of learning outcomes at elementary stage and is also coordinating Government of India project on early mathematics learning through flagship program named as Padhe Bharat, Badhe Bharat. Presently, Professor Rajput is Nodal Officer of Ministry of Human Resource Development, which is known as it is known as Ministry of Education, Government of India, and is working on reducing the phobia of mathematics. With these few words, now I invite Professor Anup Kumar Rajput sir for his deliberation. Over to Professor Anup Kumar Rajput sir. Sir.
Thank you very much, and it's my privilege of talking to you all, dear Shikshak ji, Professor Rachna Dubey, Dr. Kaushlinder, and others who are present here. I welcome you all, and I pay my sincere thanks for providing me this opportunity of talking to you. I will be, as has been mentioned, I will be talking to you on a very, very important aspect of our education, that is competency-based education, which has been highlighted in National Education Policy 2020. No doubt, this is an old idea when we talk about competencies as the overall goal of education, but we did not took it to that level at which it should be in our earlier policies and earlier curriculum frameworks. So now this has been taken up in a bigger way, and I understand that the present national curriculum framework, which is now in the process of formation, will be somewhere highlighting the competency-based education, and also the idea of having this competencies in the school education, school books. So, as has been mentioned, I will be talking to you on competency-based education, and for that, I have prepared a presentation. I will talk to you through that presentation, and will like to have your opinion on this. Maybe we may sometime, I will give you, I will talk to you for next 15-20 minutes, and then later we may have some discussion on the issue. Is my presentation visible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, it is useful.
Right. So, let us try to understand in the year 2020, 2017, we started talking about learning outcomes, and which was the mandate of Right to Education Act 2009. You all know that with this mandate, it was essential that we should define the learning outcomes, which should be the overall goals of education. And this was long back when this new policy was in just the process of formation. So learning outcomes are mandated there. So these were developed at the national level for elementary classes as per Right to Education Act, and these obviously provide you goals for education, and they usually describe the end product. But as has been mentioned in 2005 National Curriculum Framework, that end product is not so important as the process is, because during the process of learning there may be different types of knowledges which can be constructed by a child or by a learner. So therefore it was essential that we should talk more about the processes and less about the end product. But while we are talking about learning outcomes, these have been framed in such a manner in which the end product and the process through which these are to be achieved have also been mentioned there. So these are some of the examples of learning outcomes. But when we say competencies, why National Education Policy 2020 has talked about competency-based education? because it is essential, it is very important that whatever is going on in our education system is not desired, never has been desired, but we were not able to give specific input, specific impetus to the idea of making our learners skillful. We were only imparting information, and through information we expected a child should reproduce that information in examination to get a certificate, and then ultimately the goal of education is over. So if a child has got a certificate, got 60, 70, 80, 90% marks in class 10, in class 12, we assume that child has achieved the goal of school education. But it is not true. Probably you all must be having ideas. You, even your own experiences also, you can just find out that how far we are able to apply whatever has been learned in our daily life. Are we capable of applying whatever has been learned? Obviously not. I'll give you one example. If you normally in marketplaces, a lot of mathematics is already there. You find shopkeeper is providing you, offering you 50% discount on whatever you buy. Or another shopkeeper is giving you buy one get one free. Now which one is beneficiary to you? Which one should you buy? To which shop should you go? To the shop which is offering you 50% discount, or to the shop which is offering you buy one get one free? This is a major decision which we have to take instantly when we are going to market and we are planning to buy something. Do we use the mathematics or the knowledge which we gained through our education, school education? This was taught in our school education, but we do not do that. This is simply one example, but in our daily life it is happening everywhere. May it be related to social sciences, may it be related to science, may it be related to our daily life. We do not apply whatever has been learned. So therefore, the goals of education were not fulfilled. Now when we say competency-based education, it is obtained that in our school education system we are providing some information in every class, and through information we say some of the children may generate their knowledge, construct their knowledge. So we were only imparting knowledge, but we never talked about converting that knowledge into skills, so that children should become skillful also. I will give you one example. If now say whatever I have learnt in my school education, I am not able to apply because I have not converted that into skill of applying that, or skill of applying that in my problem solving, in solving my daily life problems, in solving problems related to my society. I have never used that. I have never used the process of my language learning in my day-to-day communication. And even I don't know how many of you will be able to tell me what is wrong in this sentence when we say I did not went there. I did not went there. So it's very simple. We have learnt lot about this in our education, in our language classes. No doubt this somewhere is capable of conveying my message to others. What I wanted to tell, everybody may have understood. I did not went there, so everybody may have understood what I want to tell, but grammatically it is not correct. So why it is not correct? Do you have some logic? If I use this second or third form of verb instead of first form of verb with did, so why it is wrong? This capability we never developed. We even never asked from ourselves. No doubt our education system answers this. But we learned and we applied somewhere, and somewhere we applied in a distorted form, somewhere not in form. So we never converted whatever has been learned into the skills. Now I will come to this next part. If a child is not good in studies, so what his parents decide that this child is to be, say, sent to some cycle mechanic nearby our house, wherein he will learn about the say repairing of a cycle. So now child started learning there. Child in the sense that a 14, 15-year-old child, and started learning there how the problems in a bicycle are to be fixed. Say for example, putting up a puncture. If puncture is there, how it is to be fixed. So he may have learned many things. So he is skillful. Say that process more probably he may have mastered with repeated practices. That process probably was say, okay, you have to rub the floor, then you have to put in some piece on this, fix to this, and then you have to put in air. So the puncture will be, air will not come out. If this person is skillful, but this person probably may not be having any idea, why am I rubbing it? What will happen if I not rub? Why am I putting this adhesive here? What is this material which is fixed up there? So probably for many whys he is not having answer. He is skillful but not having knowledge. So what is the purpose of education then? Purpose of education is imparting knowledge as well as skills to the children. And the combination of knowledge and skills, in addition to some other things, is called competency. No doubt with knowledge and only knowledge and skill will not work if I do not have attitude or say better attitudes, positive attitudes towards this. And I do not align values to this. So now in globally, combination of knowledge, skill, attitudes and values combinedly form competencies. So when a child is having all these, and whenever something is being taught to the child, maybe in any class, maybe right from class 1 or maybe from pre-primary classes, when a child is being taught the knowledge, the skills, the attitudes and the values are to be developed all together. And when these are developed in consonance with each other, then we consider the child is becoming competent. What are these competencies now? These, as I mentioned, these are combinations of skill, knowledge, attitudes and values, but what for the global competencies should be? So these competencies should be number one for examining local, global and intercultural issues. Very important aspect. See, whatever is around me, whatever is in my country, whatever is in my globe, if there are certain issues related to intercultural ideas, then obviously as a learner, I should be able to examine and should be able to provide solutions to this. Think critically and should be able to provide solutions to this. Understands and appreciate the perspective and world view of others. It's very important. We are so stubborn that we do not appreciate others' ideas. If someone is saying something, I even do not want to listen. If I listen, I do not want to make ideas from that, because I have already fixed up some ideas in my mind, and that is somewhere hampering my learning, and I am not becoming competent. Then engage in open, appropriate and effective interaction across cultures. So this is another very important aspect of our daily life. I am talking about a global, but if you see, you may find out that these all are still available, still existing in our own society. This society may be my village society, my state, district society, my state society, my country society, or the global society. But these all are there. Then take actions for collaborative well-being and sustainable development. Very important. On one hand, when we say that I should avoid using plastic, rather one-time use of plastic should be stopped. Government has made rules, and these rules are now implementable and are applicable in most of these states. We are applying these, but the things which were made of this plastic, one-time use plastic, how those all work will be done? Say for example, now in order to bring material from shop to my house, I was using some bags. These bags were made up of plastic. I had to avoid this. Now what is to be used then? I had to either use cloth or to use paper. But now what is happening? If I use more of clothes and paper, once again this will somewhere affect my environment. Now more trees will be cut if I use more paper. When more trees are cut, then there certainly will be some effect on some other type of effect on my environment. So this is a vicious cycle. If I stop something and I start using something more, this will once again create an imbalance in the overall environment. So this somewhere is to be seen in a global perspective, that how we are taking up all these ideas and we are creating our own society which is having competent peoples who are competent. One of the examples of these competent people is our pre-service teacher education programs. Now just recall, in our B.Ed program or in our other DLED and other programs, what we are doing, we have a very, very systematic and good form of providing teacher education programs to be teachers. But what is there? We provide theoretical base, we provide them practical knowledge through teaching learning, through internship and other. But do we develop attitudes and values? I don't know how far. And that is the problem, that we are not preparing competent teachers. We may be preparing teachers, but we are not preparing competent teachers. Competent teachers certainly must also have values and attitudes. Values towards the subjects which they are teaching, values towards the stakeholders with whom they are working, like students, parents, the colleagues, headmaster and principals and so on, or the school administrator. These all are the values which a teacher should have. Then attitude toward everything, attitude toward teaching, attitude toward servicing society, attitude toward many things. These again are to be seen in a bigger way. But how far we see them? Some of these are, I am highlighting PISA 2030. PISA probably you all may be knowing. If you don't know, let me just tell you. This is the benchmark or criteria being used to understand the overall learning in different countries across the world. And this PISA full form is Program of International Students Assessment. Program of International Students Assessment. In this, child of age 15 year is assessed. May the child be in class 9, class 10, class 11. But a child of age 15 plus is assessed. And countries participate voluntarily. A sample is being extracted from different countries, and this sample is assessed, on the basis of which ranking of countries is being done. Surprisingly, India has participated only once in the year 2012 in this PISA survey. And surprisingly, in those days, there were 73 countries in addition to India. And when result came, India was at 72nd position, last but one. This was a very, very miserable condition as per the comparison of our learning with the learning of the children across other countries. So this was totally alarming to our whole education system. Then we stopped participating in PISA. It is a survey which is being done every 3 years. But we stopped. We planned before this pandemic. We planned that in the year 2021, We should participate in this, and we started making our presentation, our preparations from 2018 onward. We selected our sample also, but due to pandemic, then we had to stop it, and we are once again not participating. But majority of countries who are having better education system have made the competencies which have been highlighted in PISA as their basic competencies. And obviously, when I assume that a child of age 15 years, when child is crossing class 10 or reaching to class 11 is to be assessed, then it is not, this preparation is not to be done in class 8, class 9. This is to be infused in our system right from preschool. So keeping this aspect in importance, this National Education Policy 2020 has highlighted that right from preschool, we should start thinking of the competencies. We have to make our children competent. And for competencies, as has been mentioned, knowledge. Knowledge is of three types. One is disciplinary knowledge, which normally we impart, and National Education Policy 2020 has very categorically mentioned that in addition to disciplinary knowledge, we should talk more about multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary knowledge. By interdisciplinary knowledge, it is very simple to know that when I am talking about science, I must talk about its effects on environment through social sciences, through political sciences, through on my politics, on my day-to-day living, than practical knowledge. So that's why now, if you have idea, National Education Policy has highlighted that now, as in 1986 policy has given us their new system of 10 plus 2 plus 3 system of education. So now this policy 2020 has given us a new system of education which has been divided into 5 stages. Foundational, which is from age 3 years to age 8 years, 7 years up to class 2. Then preparatory stage for class 3, class 4 and class 5. Then middle stage from class 6, class 7 and class 8. Then secondary stage from 9, 10th, 11 and 12th. And then plus 4 as the university education. Tertiary we can say after secondary. So this has been mentioned, and it has been very clearly mentioned that when we are talking about any subject, we should talk about this interdisciplinary approach. We should provide bouquet of subject and disciplines to the learner according to his or her own choices, as in class 10 or when child is entering class 9 or going to class 11. There should be large number of bouquet of subjects provided to the children. Maybe say, for example, if child want to learn music with physics, may be allowed. Why with physics only, mathematics only, chemistry only, biology is to be taught? With physics, commerce may be taught if a child is interested in physics and commerce, but then in that case it is essential that physics and commerce, physics and business studies rather, must be linked together. Physics and music must be linked together so that child is getting complete knowledge, which is disciplinary, interdisciplinary and practical knowledge. Then skills, cognitive and metacognitive skills, very important. This, how we think, where the major important aspect of this skills are criticality, creativity, problem solving. These all are cognitive and metacognitive skills. Social and emotional skills. Then physical and practical skills. As I was giving you an example of training a person to fix problems in a bicycle. These are practical problems, practical skills these are giving you to solve those. And then attitudes and values, I have already explained. There are certain standards which have been fixed up, character and creativity standards, and probably you may have read these on my slide. I am not going to repeat these all. You plus go through this, and you must be having some idea how these are to be integrated. Why are these important? Why innovation is important? Why we need that everybody should become innovative? Why? Because this is the time when we are having multiple problems. These are the problems which were not there 10 years back or 2 years back or 100 years back. Now new problems are coming. When new problems are coming, we should have innovative ways of solving those problems. And these can be solved through critical thinking. When we started thinking about more about whys in place of what and how, what gives you only factual information, what, and how gives you only procedural knowledge, how something is to be done. But why give you idea relating what, what and how. And if you are thinking, you have started thinking, if you have started having ideas about why something is happening like this, why, then you will certainly be able to modify the present problem solving processes. Because you have started thinking why from one step to another step I am going. Then you will think of having some other way of solving this problem. And that's it why we say these all are essential aspects of our daily life which should be infused in our education system and which has been highlighted in National Education Policy 2020. As I have already explained you what are learning outcomes, there are certain content outcomes and process outcomes. So now these outcomes have to be defined on the basis of 21st century skills, number one. Number two, keeping in view the competencies now. The learning outcomes should be framed in such a way so that my child is becoming competent, should be able to solve a different problem. So I am a person of mathematics, so I am able to give you examples related to mathematics. Say for example, while I am writing a goal, while I am writing a learning outcome at any class, I must say child should be able to say transact with money up to ₹20. Now when I say transact with money rupees up to 20 means he is having some money, so he has bought something for 8 rupees, something for 7 rupees and he has given a 20 rupee note. How much money will he get? So in this competency, addition of numbers is involved, idea relating to using money in our daily life is involved, idea related to costing of different items is involved, so many things are involved. These all we will impart in different disciplines, but the overall competency is child should be able to use money or to transact money in order to solve daily life problems. Then these learning outcomes and learning objectives, probably you all are students of B.Ed, therefore you must be having ideas. I am not going to repeat it. This normally is, I repeat it for teachers, because teachers who has done his B.Ed, his or her B.Ed 10 years, 20 years, 15 years or 7 years back must have forgotten what was taught to them in their B.Ed program or M.Ed program. But now because you all are still studying, you may have already studied it. If you have not, this is an assignment to you all students that you please try to find out differentiate between learning objectives and learning outcomes. Why we have named them as learning outcomes? If these are say something which is outcome means which I am able to perform after completing a process. So when something I have to perform after completing a process and at what level I have performed, that is my outcome. But I am fixing it in advance before starting the process. So is it suitable? Or should I name it as learning objectives, not as outcome? Outcome will be assessed later on. I should fix objective. So this difference you have to find out and discuss among yourself. The learning resources which have been highlighted in the National Education Policy are experiential learning. Very important aspect. Means everything is to be linked with daily life experiences. Right from a very, very early age, class 1 child, class 2 child, class 10 child, class 11 child, I should be able to relate it with daily life. Then only my children will be able to appreciate the relevance of learning something. Otherwise, how will they be able to appreciate why am I studying? Even today, I regret. When I studied geometry in class 9 and class 10, I'm not even able to find out why I studied this much geometry, why these many theorems were there, why I studied trigonometry, why I studied about, say, how President of India is being elected, how my parliamentary system works, why I studied. But when I started voting, then only I come to know that, okay, this is very important. I should understand my parliamentary system. I am the person whom I am selecting, I am electing, it will be my representative either in state assembly or in parliament, and they jointly will then select a prime minister or a chief minister. So this relationship with the theory and learning in this certainly should be made. So this has been highlighted in national education policy in a bigger way. Then creating interest. As I mentioned, this is mentioned there that we should talk more about the stories, poems, readers, through which children should be having interest in learning. Why should I learn? Should I learn for examination, for a pressure? Because my mother has started saying, after a week there will be a test and you have to get good marks, so stop everything. Stop, say, watching TV, stop playing, stop doing this, stop using mobile phone. Now you have to concentrate on studies because after a week there is an examination. Child is even not able to understand what will happen after examination. If I am not able to get good marks in exam, what will happen? Only thing, my mother will not be happy, my teacher will not be happy, but it is how it is going to affect me. I am not able to understand as a child. But I am stressed. I am being stressed for examination. Whereas now this national education policy has very clearly mentioned the stress of examination, the pressure of examination is to be removed. We have to make our examination so simple and so useful to the child that child should use them, child should do it with interest, with a joy. Digital technology is making a big way in our daily life, and when it has percolated to the lowest part of my society, then obviously these are to be used for child's learning. So we are not now dependent on only two resources of learning. One is the textual material, the textbook, and another is the teacher. But now we have lot many other resources of learning, which include radio, television, internet. Even in radio, even in television, you are finding many such programs, many such informative ideas are being given. Everything which is there is giving you some information, and you have to convert that information into knowledge by associating it with your teacher's intervention in classroom, what teacher said, with your reading in the textbook, with your interaction with your peer, and so on. So there are this is to be, and we have to use these resources. Integration of art and sports, very important. When we said, in Hindi normally we say, पढ़ोगे लिखोगे बनोगे नवाब, खेलोगे कूदोगे होगे खराब. But this is not the scenario now. When I will be healthy enough, then only I can learn. Then only I can use my knowledge in my society. If I am not healthy, how can I use it? There is no fun of learning many things if I am not physically capable, if I am not physically strong. So art, sport, music, these are to be integrated in our day-to-day teaching learning process, and in both ways. Number one, when I am teaching different discipline, say I am teaching science, then how art, maybe drawing is to be used. Drawing normally is used in all such disciplines. In geography, I have to draw maps. In science, I have to draw graphs, I have to draw pictures. In mathematics, I have to draw pictures, graphs, and many things. In social sciences, I have to draw bar graphs, I have to present data in the form of pictures. Then almost everywhere I have to use art, which we call as drawing. We may use music, we may use drama. So these all, then sports, these all are to be integrated with that discipline when mathematics is being taught. Even when a person is in a classroom, in a playground, then can we teach mathematics when child is playing something? Can we teach science when child is playing something? The content which is relevant to their class, which is relevant to their age and so on. Then manipulatives, learning kits, toys and handhelds, etc., labs. These are having very important place in our teaching learning processes, because when we use toys, when we handle them with our hands, then certainly we use our all sense organs. Learning is outcome of taking inputs through our sense organs. So if I am using more sense organs, all sense organs, my learning will certainly be better. If I am using only one or two sense organs, obviously my learning will not be as better as it should be. That is why National Education Policy 2020 has very categorically mentioned that we should give emphasis to toy-based pedagogy. By toy-based pedagogy, it is very clear that toy should be given importance in our day-to-day teaching learning process in the classroom. Then print material should be made in such a manner that child should not have the boring content which child is not interested in reading. We should be present in the form of comics to young children, in the form of worksheets, workbooks, board games, libraries, where a lot of material is being available to children to learn. So these are certain resources which have been highlighted in the National Education Policy. Assessment, another very important aspect. Focus on measurement and evaluation is to be given while we are assessing, but how? Not only we have to somewhere do away with the one-time year-end examination or terminal examination. School-based examination, which is basically done by the teacher, classroom teacher, not by a third party. This process of assessment should be between teacher and the taught. Because, say, teacher want to know how much my efforts had worked while I wanted to teach this much to my children. How much they have learned. And if they have not learned this much which I expected, then the teacher is only a person who can rectify it, who can provide remedies for this lack of learning. Not a third person. Even headmaster or maybe district administration has done some assessment, and on the basis of assessment some results have come up, and most of the children have not achieved these learning outcomes. Well, who will do the remedial? The teacher has to do. Teacher is not having only one way or one source of information, that is the year-end 3-hour examination, but teacher is having lot of other resources for assessment, and those resources are number one, observation, teacher's observation in classroom. Simply teacher is observing how children are talking to each other, when children are given some task, how they are doing, how children are performing at particular level and so on. Then teacher gives them maybe assignments, maybe tasks, maybe when making chart, maybe group work, how children are working in groups. Maybe when I ask the child some questions in my classroom, who are the children who give some creative answers or they put up creative questions? Who are the children? Teacher can only have this idea. When a child has started putting up some creative questions, some critical questions, teacher has also started thinking, yeah, this child is very good because this child is thinking beyond my expectations. This only a teacher can get. So therefore, the assessment should be more on school-based. No doubt, this year-end terminal exam assessment, which normally we call as summative assessment, has its own values, but not as much as this formative assessment. So assessment has once again been highlighted, and in national, like earlier policies, this policy in 2020 has also mentioned that we should give more emphasis to school-based assessment rather than the year-end 3-hour examination or year-end examination. Overall, all learning, if a child has got 70% marks in the year-end examination, so this is nowhere giving him an idea that child has learned 70% of the syllabus, or child has learned all syllabus but at 70% level with 70% proficiency. No, This 70% marks is giving no idea neither about the quantum of learning nor about the quality of learning. So then what for these examinations are? You should not use it. And that is why this is happening. Child is getting 90% marks and is getting admissions. This is a simple example. In Delhi, normally lot of students get admission. Earlier it was on the basis of their marks which they have obtained in class 12th examination. Now it is through CUET, but earlier it was through marks. And when children getting 99% marks are going to the college, going to the undergraduate program, maybe to IIT, maybe to medical college, the teachers there themselves say, hey, this child has got 99% marks, but his fundamentals are very poor, not very clear about what has been learned. So they then again start teaching. So they curse this examination system. So this somewhere is to be seen. National Education Policy 2020 is very categorically highlighted. We should not only assess the knowledge, we normally assess knowledge, and that too the memory of the child, rote memory. We do not assess the criticality. We do not assess the creativity of the child. Rather, we do not assess competencies. So my assessment should once again be competency-based assessment, wherein there must be something on a paper pen. Maybe a paper pen test can give you some idea, but more of the involvement or engagement of children in certain tasks and assessment through those tasks. Not only with the written, with the pen paper only, but maybe a child when explaining, when child is talking to others, when child is explaining to me why it has been done as a teacher or to his peer or her peer. So this certainly should be there, and we should use technology for assessment. Multidisciplinary assessment, very important. Now when I have to put up the mathematics question paper, there should not be all questions related to mathematics, but how the mathematics learnt is being applied in social sciences. So there should be some problem given in examination, which is a social science problem, but can be solved by using mathematical learning, mathematical ideas. There may be some question in social science, which social science question paper is heavy, but there are a lot of mathematics and science is to be used. Obviously of that level, when I say class 8 social science, then obviously class up to class 8 science is to be used, up to class 8 mathematics is to be used, and so also this interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary assessment is to be done. Then internationally we have to think of where are we standing, and for that we have to keep in mind these international surveys which I mentioned, PISA, then there is TIMSS, PISA for children of age 15 years, then TIMSS means Trends in International Mathematics and Science Studies, Trends in International Mathematics and Science Studies. So this is particularly for children of class 4, class 8, and at that level some mathematics and science aspect is being assessed through various types of questions, and the performance is then compared with other countries, and then the countries are ranked. Then there is PULSE, and PULSE is for lower classes. This program of international reading and literacy study, international reading and literacy study for lower classes. So language. So there are benchmarks being made. We have also developed benchmarks for foundational literacy and numeracy, but there are more on these international assessments, so we should keep. Moreover, we have to assess children in real life situations. So rather say, for example, assessing affective domain also, affective skills. How sensitive child is toward environment, how sensitive child is toward the pet, how much resilient the child is, how much, say, mentally strong the child is. We should assess these also, na? In a situation where there is totally adverse things are going on, how child is behaving. If it is not mentally strong, then mental breakdown will be there, and which has happened. Why children start thinking of suicide? I was just reading yesterday newspaper, one child who appeared in NEET examination and NET and was not able to do something better, could not qualify. He hanged himself, and on the note he wrote, "Papa, I'm sorry, मैंने बहुत मेहनत की थी." मतलब the child was so much afraid of the father कि पास नहीं हुआ तो बड़ी प्रॉब्लम हो गई, मैंने नेट क्वालिफाई नहीं किया, इट इज अ बिगर प्रॉब्लम, चाइल्ड इज कमिटेड सुसाइड, मैंने मेंटली स्ट्रांग ही नहीं बनाया, किसी को भी नहीं, फादर नहीं, फादर इज नॉट मेंटली स्ट्रांग कि वो सिचुएशन को उस तरह से लेते कि दिस इज नॉट द एंड ऑफ लाइफ. अगर नहीं हुआ है नीट क्वालिफाई, नो प्रॉब्लम. और देयर आर मेनी पीपल जिन्होंने नेट क्वालिफाई, नीट क्वालिफाई नहीं किया, लाइफ में बहुत अच्छा कर रहे हैं. देयर आर मेनी पीपल who have not qualified IIT examiner, IIT, but they are better engineers. तो ये तो लाइफ में कहीं लेके आना है, and this we can only understand when we are effectively developing people. वो effective domain तो हम कर नहीं रहे हैं, we are only assessing cognitive. So इसके ऊपर करना है, then tools for developing and assessing competencies. So these are certain tools which certainly be used in order to assess competencies. As I mentioned, everything, every aspect, but in integration, not in isolation. Means knowledge we have to assess, skills we have to assess, attitudes we have to assess, values we have to assess, but in association with each other. Isolation में एक क्वेश्चन नॉलेज का डाल दो, एक स्किल का डाल दो, एक क्वेश्चन एटीट्यूड से डाल दो, एक इससे दो, कहीं वो कॉम्बिनेशन नहीं आएगा, कॉम्पिटेंसी नहीं बनेगी. फिर आइसोलेशन में तो हम कर ही ले रहे हैं, बट कॉम्पिटेंसी असेस करना है, देन वी हैव टू टेक these tools in our mind. These all tools you have already studied or you will study in your course जो आप कर रहे हैं, M.Ed, B.Ed जो भी कर रहे हैं, you will study these all in your day to day teaching learning. आप वहाँ देखिए पोर्टफोलियो क्या होता है, how e-portfolio is to be developed. rubrics क्या होते हैं, who develops rubric, rubric से assessment होती कैसे है, grading कैसे करेंगे, integration कैसे करेंगे टीचिंग के साथ. It means assessment is not something to be done in isolation. पढ़ा दिया अब हम assess करेंगे, it should not be there. How can I make assessment as a part of my day-to-day teaching learning process? इसमें assessee को पता ही नहीं, assessee को पता ही नहीं लग रहा है कि assessor ने से assess भी किया. Means child is not able to find out कि मेरा assessment भी हो गया. हाँ, ऐसा हो कि किसी इंटरव्यू के लिए बुलाया and मैंने वहां कुछ चार्ट लगा दिए, मैं children are sitting in the waiting hall, बहुत सारे चार्ट लगे हैं, people starting there, maybe one person who has been infused by me, and मैंने वो CCTV कैमरा लगा दिया है कहीं जो दिख नहीं रहा, and now मैंने कुछ इनिशिएट कर दिया डिस्कशन, भाई देखो चार्ट पे इतना अच्छा लिखा है, क्या होना चाहिए. then everybody has started giving their ideas. only thing is what they are doing, they are filling up the waiting time. उनको लग रहा है अभी इंटरव्यू होना है, ये तो वेटिंग के लिए, वेटिंग टाइम में, तो तब तक कुछ बात कर लेते हैं और कुछ भी होगा. अभी बाद में क्या होता है, आफ्टर सम टाइम द इंटरव्यूअर कम आउट एंड ही सेज ओके फ्रेंड्स यू कैन गो. इंटरव्यू तो हुआ नहीं, नो वी हैव ऑलरेडी डन योर इंटरव्यूज थ्रू योर डिस्कशन व्हिच यू आर मेकिंग. सो वो इंटीग्रेशन हमने क्या किया, असेसमेंट जो किया वो किसी ऐसे वन टाइम एग्जामिनेशन से कुछ 4 क्वेश्चन पूछ के नहीं हुआ. बच्चे की असेसमेंट तो वही हो गई, क्योंकि मैंने वो टारगेटेड चार्ट्स लगाए थे, टारगेटेड पर्सन वाज सिटिंग हु वाज पुटिंग इन आइडियाज और बाकी लोगों के आइडियाज ले रहे थे. इज इट नॉट द बेटर वे ऑफ असेसिंग? वेरी गुड वे करना चाहिए. अडैप्टिव असेसमेंट, ऑल चिल्ड्रन आर नॉट इक्वल, चिल्ड्रन डिफरेंट हैं, हर एक के लर्निंग लेवल्स डिफरेंट हैं, हर एक के लर्निंग स्टाइल्स डिफरेंट हैं, तो ऑब्वियसली असेसमेंट भी कॉमन नहीं होना चाहिए. हमें असेसमेंट अकॉर्डिंग टू चाइल्ड करना चाहिए. नो डाउट टूल हम कॉमन बना सकते हैं, बट उसको कैसे इंप्लीमेंट करना है, इट शुड बी अडेप्टिव. से ऐसा करना चाहिए कि बच्चे के लर्निंग लेवल के साथ अडेप्ट किया जा सके, ना कि उसको अडॉप्ट करें. क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग एंड क्रिएटिविटी, ऑब्वियसली मैंने जैसे कहा था, गिव फोकस टू व्हाई, मोर ऑन व्हाईज, व्हाई इट हैपेंड, व्हाई दिस इज बीइंग डन लाइक दिस ओनली, कैन इट बी डन इन सम अदर डिफरेंट वे, हाउ. तो फिर वो करें तो सोचना शुरू करेंगे और फिर वो डिफरेंट लर्निंग होगी. ये कुछ डेवलपमेंटल गोल्स हैं व्हिच हैव बीन फिक्स्ड, और इन डेवलपमेंटल गोल्स को लेके आगे बढ़ते हैं. क्या क्या है? डेवलपमेंट गोल 1 है चिल्ड्रन मेंटेन गुड हेल्थ एंड वेल बीइंग. वेरी गुड, सबके लिए होना चाहिए. दैट इज व्हाई आर्ट एजुकेशन इज बीइंग integrated with this, sports have been integrated with this, and so on. Then goal 2 is children become effective communicator. Means जो आइडियाज हैं उसको लिख के, बोल के, डायग्राम से कम्युनिकेट कर सके, दूसरे के ऐसे ही आइडियाज को समझ सके. Goal 3, children become involved learners and connect with their immediate environment. Means मैथमेटिक्स की लर्निंग है, वो इमीडिएट इन्वायरमेंट में है सारा मैथमेटिक्स. लैंग्वेज में भी है, नो डाउट. सोशल साइंस है, इमीडिएट इन्वायरमेंट में साइंस है. मैंने उसको इस सारी लर्निंग को डिसिप्लिन में धीरे धीरे हम बांटते जाते हैं. जहां इन लोअर क्लासेस वी कॉल देम एनवायरमेंटल स्टडीज. क्लास 5 जाने के बाद क्लास 6 में जब बच्चा आता है, दिस एनवायरमेंटल स्टडीज इज डिवाइडेड इनटू सोशल साइंस एंड साइंस. देन जब 9th 10th में आ जाता है तो सोशल साइंस इज फर्दर डिवाइडेड इनटू हिस्ट्री, इकोनॉमिक्स, जियोग्राफी, पॉलिटिकल साइंस एंड सो ऑन. साइंस इज फर्दर डिवाइडेड इनटू फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, बायोलॉजी एंड सो ऑन. सो ये तो ओवरऑल हम कर क्या रहे हैं? वी आर लर्निंग अबाउट अवर एनवायरनमेंट. सो दीज आर द गोल्स व्हिच अबाउट दिस वी टॉक. ये कुछ इंटरनेशनल सर्वे हैं, उसके बारे में मैं बात कर रहा था, बट वो थोड़ा दैट इज beyond your discussion, so I am not going to take it up here. But आप इसको देख सकते हैं कि किस तरह से असेसमेंट होती है. I want to give it to you कि आप इसके बारे में सोचना शुरू करें और अपना जो भी आप बना रहे हैं, this may be your teaching in your classrooms, this may be the material which you are preparing. ये जो हमारी local जो requirements हैं, local requirements means दैट कि मेरा जो सिलेबस मुझे कहता है, जो मेरी टेक्स्ट बुक मुझे कहती है, वो तो मुझे करना ही है. बट ओवरऑल इन सबके ऊपर क्या है? ग्लोबल कॉम्पिटेंसी. और ये ग्लोबल कॉम्पिटेंसी कैसे असेस हो रही है? कॉम्पिटेंसी थ्रू दीज इंटरनेशनल सर्वे. तो इसलिए इन इंटरनेशनल सर्वेज को भी ध्यान में रखिए. उस तरह के क्वेश्चंस देखिए कैसे पूछे जाते हैं. नो, आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि किसी पर्टिकुलर टाइप के क्वेश्चंस के लिए बच्चों को तैयार करो. लर्निंग अगर अप्रोप्रिएट है तो किसी भी तरह का क्वेश्चन बच्चा सॉल्व कर सकता है. तो ऐसी कुछ लर्निंग बनाने की जरूरत होगी. ये कुछ और चीजें हैं जो स्कूल बेस्ड असेसमेंट में मैंने कहा है. एंड दिस नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी हैज टॉक्ड अबाउट दिस, टॉकिंग सेइंग देयर शुड बी अ रिपोर्ट कार्ड. बच्चे का जो बने उसको 360 रिपोर्ट कार्ड कहा जा रहा है. 360 डिग्री रिपोर्ट कार्ड. 360 डिग्री रिपोर्ट कार्ड का मतलब बच्चे की होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट के बारे में वो बात कर सके. नॉट ओनली फ्यू सब्जेक्ट्स बट होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट के बारे में बात है. जिनमें तीनों गोल आते हैं तो उनके बारे में ऐसी कुछ असेसमेंट के फॉर्मेट बनाए जाने चाहिए. ये NEP 2020 में जो दिए गए हैं, ये लिखे गए हैं, आप उसको देख लें कि कौन कौन सी चीजें हैं. तो NEP पढ़ना चाहिए आपको. बड़ा छोटा सा डॉक्यूमेंट है 60 पेजेस का. एवरीबॉडी शुड रीड इट. दीज आर सम ऑफ द टाइप्स ऑफ क्वेश्चंस व्हिच कैन बी आस्क्ड. नॉट न्यू टोटली, पुराना भी कुछ चल रहा है, but some of them are new. So उसको पढ़िए and make out your own learning. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you are welcome. थोड़ा आप उसको देख लीजिए और अब आप क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकते हैं अगर कुछ है तो. Yes sir, are there any questions? Yeah, Professor Rachana ji, you want?
Yes sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है,
आपका आवाज क्लियर नहीं है मैडम. योर वॉइस इज नॉट क्लियर.
कैन यू हियर मी सर?
Yes, yes. Now it is slightly better.
Okay sir, thank you for giving a wonderful presentation. There is one मतलब एक डाउट है अंदर मन में, तो इसलिए मैं आज क्वेश्चन पुट अप कर रही हूँ. बट डोंट टेक इन अनदर अलग मीनिंग मत लीजिएगा. मेरे पास अंदर से क्यूरियोसिटी है जानने की, इसलिए मैं पूछ रही हूँ कि आपने अभी कहा कि बच्चों का असेसमेंट, स्टूडेंट का असेसमेंट उनकी कॉम्पिटेंसी लेवल को देखते हुए असेसमेंट किया जाए. मेरे ख्याल से आपने यही कहा सही है?
मैंने ये कहा है कि बच्चे की असेसमेंट वो कॉम्पिटेंसीज फिक्स की गई हैं उस क्लास में, कुछ लेवल पर, उनके बेसिस पर किया जाना चाहिए. लेकिन जो असेसमेंट के प्रोसेसेस है वो अडेप्टिव होने चाहिए. वो कोई बच्चा ओरल कम्युनिकेशन में बच्चा है, ओरली बता सकता है, कोई लिख के बता सकता है, कोई बहुत अच्छा है ड्राइंग से बता सकता है, कोई बहुत अच्छा किसी और तरीके से बता सकता है। तो हमें जो असेसमेंट करनी है वो उनको उसके टूल्स उस तरह से अडेप्ट करने चाहिए। तो कोई बच्चा आपस में जब बातचीत कर रहे हैं, मैंने एक क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया एंड चाइल्ड इज नॉट एबल टू आंसर, तो मैं ये ना समझूं कि बच्चा बता नहीं पा रहा है। बच्चे की नॉलेज होगी बट उसमें पीछे रीजन शायद ये होगा बच्चा हिस्टेट कर रहा है मेरे से बात करने में। देन इन दैट केस कई ग्रुप में अगर बात हो रही है, आई शुड ऑब्जर्व दी चाइल्ड कि ये ग्रुप में आपस में जब बातचीत कर रहे हैं तो कैसे कर रहे हैं। मैंने बच्चे को जब एक पेपर दिया 3 घंटे में नहीं कर पा रहा, जो मैंने 3 घंटे में, या मैंने 1 घंटे का टेस्ट दिया था, उसको थोड़ा ज्यादा टाइम चाहिए, 4 घंटे, उसको 2 घंटे चाहिए 1 घंटे को, तो 2 घंटे दे दो। इसको बोलते हैं अडेप्टिव असेसमेंट। दिस इज अडेप्टिव टुवर्ड्स द चाइल्ड्स पेस ऑफ लर्निंग, चाइल्ड्स स्टाइल ऑफ लर्निंग, उसको अडेप्टिव मैंने कहा है, डिफरेंट नहीं करेंगे जी।
लेकिन सर एक कोई तो पैरामीटर फिक्स करना पड़ेगा हमको बच्चे को असेस करने के लिए। वी हैव अ स्टूडेंट ऑफ 60 स्टूडेंट्स इन अ क्लास, बच्चे हमारे क्लास में पढ़ रहे हैं, हम 100 बच्चों के लिए अडेप्टिव अलग अलग मेथोडोलॉजी अपनाएंगे। एक कोई तो फिक्स पैरामीटर तो फिक्स करेंगे हम।
आप समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं, फिक्स पैरामीटर किसके करोगे? कॉम्पिटेंसीज के। आपकी कॉम्पिटेंसी फिक्स कर दी है, लर्निंग आउटकम है, आपने वो लर्निंग आउटकम फिक्स कर दिया है कि चाइल्ड शुड बी एबल टू, मैं जैसे मैथमेटिक्स का एग्जांपल देता हूं, कॉम्पिटेंसी है मेरी, चाइल्ड शुड बी एबल टू से मल्टीप्लाई नेगेटिव नंबर्स, और उसके ऊपर मैंने किया। अब ये मल्टीप्लाई नेगेटिव नंबर्स का एक बच्चा नंबर लाइन पे अच्छा कर पाता है तो मुझे उससे पूछना चाहिए। एक बच्चा कॉम्पिटेंसी सेम असेस कर रहा हूं लेकिन मेरे प्रोसेसेस डिफरेंट हो सकते हैं, मेरे टूल्स थोड़ा डिफरेंट हो सकते हैं, विच शुड बी अडेप्टिव। नो डाउट मेजॉरिटी ऑफ चिल्ड्रन शुड बी एबल टू से वो लिख के प्रेजेंट कर सके क्योंकि उसका डॉक्यूमेंट्री प्रूफ मेरे पास होगा।
ये टाइम कंज्यूमिंग नहीं होगा सर?
पार्डन?
इज इट वेरी मच टाइम कंज्यूमिंग?
मैं समझा नहीं, क्या करके नहीं होगा?
सर ये असेसमेंट मेथोडोलॉजी जो आप कह रहे हैं ये टाइम कंज्यूमिंग नहीं होगा?
होगा तो सारी चीजें टाइम कंज्यूमिंग होगी। अब ये तो आपकी क्लास में अगर मैंने 60 स्टूडेंट 70 स्टूडेंट 80 स्टूडेंट बैठा दिए तो ये तब भी नहीं होगा। ये तो लिमिटेशंस तो बहुत सारी हैं। हम तो एक ऐसी सिचुएशन की बात करेंगे, अब इसमें टीचर की अपना कैलिबर है कि इनको कैसे यूज करते हैं। अब टीचर, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि सारी चीजें आइडियली यूज हो जाएंगी, बट इफ इट इज इन माई बैक ऑफ माइंड कि हाँ ये करना चाहिए तो जहां जहां अपॉर्चुनिटी है आई शुड बी एबल टू डू इट। मैं अगर कहती हूँ
इट शुड बी मोर स्टूडेंट सेंट्रिक,
इट शुड बी मोर स्टूडेंट सेंट्रिक, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, मुझे ना टोटल बंद के नहीं काम करना है टीचर के, बस ये फॉर्मेट है इसी में काम करना है। मेरी लिमिटेशन हो सकती है, सो समवेयर वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड। नो डाउट लिमिटेशन तो हमारी बहुत सारी हैं और हम वही करते हैं, लिमिटेशंस में तो काम कर रहे हैं। बट एनीवेज एनईपी ये कह रही है कितना इम्प्लीमेंटेबल होगा ये देखने की जरूरत है। अनटिल वी प्रोवाइड फैसिलिटीज थोड़ा मुश्किल तो होगा।
ओके सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच। बस मैंने ये मैं सोची, मैंने पूछा आपसे सवाल।
जी जी, नो नाइस, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू वेरी मच
जी। आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट करिए कौशलेंद्र जी। हाँ अब आ रही है, आप बोलिए।
अभी
आप नहीं ब्रेक हो सर, आई एम नॉट एबल टू।
अभी आ रही है सर?
आप आ रही है।
हेलो, अभी आ रही है ना? हमें थोड़ा डाउट उस पे हो रहा है, जैसे आपने ये बताया ना कि एडाप्टिव लर्निंग असेसमेंट वाला पार्ट, तो आवाज मिल रही है ना सर? क्वेश्चन सर उसमें एक ये प्रॉब्लम आएगा, जैसे हमारे फास्ट लर्नर और स्लो लर्नर है, तो आपका ये जो आपको ये पर्टिकुलर कॉम्पिटेंसी लेवल हमें चेक करनी है, उसके लिए तो हमें ये करना होगा ना सर, अदरवाइज वो कैसे हो पाएगा? जैसे अगर हमारे लर्नर उसमें आइडेंटिफाई कर ले फास्ट लर्नर,
आपका आवाज बहुत की आवाज इको आपका माइक ऑन है, किसी का मोबाइल या माइक ऑन है तो जरा बंद करवा दीजिए।
अब सही है मैडम?
हाँ बोलिए।
अच्छा सर, आपको प्रॉपर मिल रही है आवाज?
हाँ मिल रही है, बोलिए।
सर वही उसी कंटिन्यूएशन में ये पूछना था कि फास्ट लर्नर स्लो लर्नर है और कॉम्पिटेंसी लेवल हमें सब एक लेवल तक ले जाना है, तो फास्ट वाले की तो अलग हम असेसमेंट कर लेंगे, जो आप एडाप्टिव असेसमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं, वो हमारे लिए, हमको लगता है कि जो हमारे स्लो लर्नर हैं उनके लिए अलग से टाइम और इस तरह से एडाप्टिव अगर वो करें तो ज्यादा बेटर होगा। एक ही क्लास में अगर हमारे मिक्स लर्नर हैं, सबके लिए हम एडाप्टिव लगा देंगे तो ये थोड़ा फिजिबल नहीं होगा सर क्लास में करना।
अरे नहीं नहीं, आप इसको ना इस तरह से समझने की कोशिश करिए कि जब हम बात कर रहे हैं, एक तो ये फास्ट और स्लो लर्नर होता नहीं है कुछ भी। Only thing is some children are at a better level of learning, some children are not at a better level. कोई चीज लर्न करने के लिए कुछ बच्चे ऐसे हैं जो पहले से बहुत अच्छे लेवल पर हैं, ऑब्वियसली वो नई चीज को लर्न अच्छा कर लेंगे क्योंकि उसकी बेसिक चीजें क्लियर है। कुछ बच्चों को थोड़ी देर लगेगी। अडेप्टिव लर्निंग दोनों के लिए यूज होगी। जो बेटर लर्निंग वाला है उसके लिए आपको उसके तरीके की असेसमेंट करनी पड़ेगी, जो बेटर लर्निंग लेवल पर है। जो थोड़ा लोअर लेवल पर है उसके लिए उसके तरीके की करनी पड़ेगी। और ये भी जरूरी है कि ये जो असेसमेंट है, ये वन टाइम असेसमेंट की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं मैं, डे टू डे की बात कर रहा हूँ।
इस तरह से कर सकते हैं ना, तो सीसी पैटर्न पे हम इसको कर सकते हैं, फॉर्मेटिव लेवल पे कर सकते हैं।
हाँ,
कंटिन्यूअस करते रहें, ये
हो सकता है चाहिए बहुत
सही है। हमने ये फॉर्मल सोचा कि समेटिव लेवल पे ये दिक्कत होगी, फॉर्मेटिव लेवल पे तो ये सही है सर। कंटिन्यूअस सीसी पैटर्न पे हम करते रहे, बाद में फिर अब उसको देख लेंगे एडाप्टिव लर्निंग में कौन किस लेवल पे कहां तक सीख रहा है। ठीक है सर,
एब्सोल्युटली राइट, एब्सोल्युटली राइट। एनईपी के पीछे आइडिया यही है, एनईपी में एडेप्टिव असेसमेंट के पीछे।
Anyone from the audience have any questions, please come up here and ask your question. Yes, Vedika, please come up.
आवाज क्लियर नहीं है मैडम, समझ नहीं आया।
My question is, which is the most important thing a teacher should keep in mind in order to be a competent teacher?
See,
the most important thing a teacher should keep in mind in order to be a competent teacher.
See, this teacher should not only keep, everybody who is engaged with teacher preparation, teacher development, professional development should keep this in mind, that the overall learning is the competencies. Teacher is to be made competent. So मैं बीएड का एग्जामिनेशन का आपको जो एग्जामिनेशन के प्रोसेस में थोड़ा बदलो, हाँ, उनको प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज थोड़ी जाना दो, उनमें स्किल्स जाना आने दो। हम करते हैं लेकिन सब थ्योरेटिकल लेवल पर रह जाता है। नो डाउट हमारे यहाँ प्रॉब्लम्स और भी हैं। मैंने एक टीचर को कॉम्पिटेंट बना दिया लेकिन प्रॉब्लम आ गई कि सिस्टम कंड्यूसिव नहीं मिला। जैसा अभी कह रहे थे कि बच्चे नंबर ऑफ चिल्ड्रन ज्यादा हैं, डिफरेंट लर्निंग लेवल्स पर हैं और वो लर्निंग लेवल इतने वेरीड है दैट टीचर इज नॉट एबल टू एडजस्ट कि मैं किसको कैसे पढ़ाऊं। एक कोई बच्चे बहुत ऊंचे लेवल पर है, कोई बहुत नीचे है। क्लास 7 में बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं, कोई बच्चे 7 का काफी अच्छे से समझ पा रहे हैं, कुछ बच्चे तो अभी क्लास 3 क्लास 4 के लेवल पर ही बैठे हुए हैं, लिखना पढ़ना भी नहीं आ पा रहा है। तो टीचर के लिए प्रॉब्लम तो है। कॉम्पिटेंसी इसीलिए हम कह रहे हैं कि टीचर शुड डेवलप कॉम्पिटेंसीज हाउ टू एड्रेस दिस मल्टीग्रेड क्लासरूम, मल्टी लेवल क्लासरूम, कैसे करें इसको। तो वो कॉम्पिटेंसीज आनी जरूरी है। फोकस शुड बी कॉम्पिटेंसीज एवरीवेयर, not only in classrooms but in teacher preparation programs also. You are absolutely right. टीचर को दिमाग में रखना है, हमारे टीचर एजुकेटर्स को दिमाग में रखना है कि हमें कॉम्पिटेंट बना रहे हैं, ना कि नॉलेजेबल बना रहे हैं। नॉलेज खाली काम नहीं करेगा।
हेलो,
हाँ जी,
ये सर सेशन ओपन करते हैं। कुछ लोग अपना व्यूज भी शेयर करना चाह रहे हैं, वो व्यूज भी शेयर कर लें। ओनली क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन में ही ना रखें। एनईपी 2020 से रिलेटेड और ये कॉम्पिटेंसी बेस्ड एजुकेशन से रिलेटेड कुछ इन शॉर्ट व्यूज अपना शेयर करना चाह रहे हैं, उनके लिए भी थोड़ा ओपन करते हैं 5 मिनट के लिए, फिर उसके बाद
Thank you sir for such an informative session. I'm sure we all are now more clear and informed regarding the NEP 2020 and the importance of a competent teacher in a student's life and how important a competent student is for the society. Now, anyone from the audience who wishes to share their views, please come up here and share your views. Yes, Soumya, please.
Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, Neha and Divya, for giving me this opportunity to share my views on this topic. I want to give a special thanks to Professor Anup sir to enlighten us with this important piece of information regarding NEP 2020. This competency-based education, as said by Sir, is the need for the upcoming as well as the present generation, and this usually focus on the real work skills and experience which the students need the most. At last, I want to say this change is needed, so this change is happening, and many such changes are definitely on the way. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Soumya. Shruti.
और कोई फैकल्टी मेंबर भी अपना व्यू शेयर करना चाह रहे हैं तो वो शेयर कर सकते हैं, या कोई क्रिटिकल ऑब्जर्वेशन उनकी हो रिगार्डिंग NEP 2020 जो हमारा मेन थीम है, उसी के रिगार्डिंग अगर कोई उनका क्रिटिकल ऑब्जर्वेशन हो आज के लेक्चर पे, या फिर इन जनरल NEP 2020 कॉम्पिटेंसी बेस्ड एजुकेशन पे कोई ऑब्जर्वेशन इस तरह से हो जो शेयर करना चाह रहे हो, इस टॉपिक फोकस करके वो शेयर कर सकते हैं, कोई फैकल्टी मेंबर या स्टूडेंट जो जुड़े हुए हैं।
Good afternoon, respected teachers and all. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Being a student of the BEd student, it will prove to be very helpful for all, for us. And I would like to thank Professor Anup sir for that as he had explained about NEP 2020 and competency-based education in simple yet and effective manner. That he said to me about how to assess a student and how to provide a learning resources to student according to his interest. Thank you, sir. Shubha.
Thank you, Divya. For the last 2 years, we were listening the term. We were listening the term new education policy. But today, we are able to analyze what national policy is. This is only possible because of you, sir. Anup sir, thank you very much for your precious time, and thank you, Kaushik sir, for giving us this beautiful opportunity.
No, I'm actually.
अगर मैं बात करूं एक छात्र की तरह, तो शिक्षा का उद्देश्य जब तक केवल नौकरी पाना है तब तक सिर्फ नौकरी पैदा हो। मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है ये जानकर कि क्यों एजुकेशन पॉलिसी हमें ये जान भी रहा है कि सिर्फ किसी चीज को जानना ही काफी नहीं है, उस चीज को एनालाइज करना कि किसी भी टॉपिक को हम इतने हद तक जान सकते हैं कि उस चीज को अच्छे से बता सके, अप्लाई कर सके अपने लाइफ टाइम में। जैसा कि अनुप सर ने अपने लेक्चर में बताया कि हम लोग इतनी सारी चीजें मैथ्स में, साइंस में पढ़ लेते हैं, लेकिन उसको लाइफ में कैसे अप्लाई करना है ये नहीं समझ पाते हैं। लेकिन न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी डेफिनेटली हमें ये मौका देगा कि हम ये समझ सकेंगे कि उस चीज को कहाँ पे और किस तरह से अप्लाई किया जा सके। और बात अगर मैं करूं एज ए टीचर, क्योंकि मैं BEd की स्टूडेंट हूं, तो एक कॉम्पिटेंट टीचर बनने का मैंने भी सपना देखा है। तो एक इफेक्टिव टीचर, एफिशिएंट टीचर बनना गुड, बट एक एफिशिएंट टीचर बनना इज बेस्ट, एंड वी विल बी an effective teacher. Thank you, sir, for this new education policy and giving us this very important views. And मैं लास्ट में यही कहना चाहूंगी कि न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी को हथियार है जिसके सहारे हमारे पूर्वजों ने जो सपना देखा है उसे हम पूर्ण कर रहे हैं। वो सपने का भारत जो हमारे लिए हमारे पूर्वजों ने देखा था, हम वो करेंगे, करके रहेंगे। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, Shubhra. Yes, you are definitely right. Now, Barka.
I think we will take this last one and then we have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This one is last one.
Yes, please.
Okay.
प्रणाम सर, मैं बरखा आर्य महिला PG कॉलेज से BEd प्रथम वर्ष की छात्रा। सर, इसको पूरा सुनने के बाद, राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति 2020 को सुनने के बाद बहुत सारी जो दुविधाएं थी, जो बहुत इसको लेकर दुविधा थी, वह क्लियर हुई। और एक परंपरा जो लंबे समय से कहावत चली आ रही है,
जो सर आपने भी उसको कोट किया था कि खेलोगे कूदोगे बनोगे खराब, पढ़ोगे लिखोगे बनोगे नवाब। तो इस पूरे की पूरी परंपरा, इस पूरी की पूरी बात में कुछ गलत ठहराता है 2020 हमारी जो राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति है वह है। लेकिन सर एक मेरे इसमें डाउट्स है, जो यह है कि सर अभी तक ऐसा देश भारत जो जिसका विविधता में एकता जिसका मूल मंत्र रहा है, और जो अभी तक राज्य भाषा से उठकर राष्ट्रभाषा का निर्माण नहीं कर पा रहा है, वह राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति एक राष्ट्र लेवल पे इसको मतलब कि धरातल पे उसको उतार रहा है। तो कैसे होगा, या फिर पूर्ण रूप से कर हो पाएगा या नहीं हो पाएगा, बड़ी इस विषय को लेकर सर हमारी एक दुविधा है। क्वेश्चन भी है कि विविधता में एकता को कैसे सामंजस्य स्थापित होगा इस विषय में।
वेरी गुड एंड आई लाइक टू आंसर दिस इन 1 or 2 minutes. देखिए ये जो बात बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट है कि आपने राष्ट्रभाषा की बात की है। हमारे देश में राष्ट्रभाषा कोई नहीं है, सबकी अपनी अपनी भाषा है। जो है हिंदी अगर है तो वो राजभाषा है, कामकाज की भाषा है राजभाषा। तो राष्ट्रभाषा तो सबकी अपनी भाषा है। एक तो ये, दूसरा ये बिल्कुल ठीक है, एनईपी ने बहुत कैटेगरिकली इसको कहा है कि हमें मल्टीलिंग्विस्टिक सिचुएशन की बात करनी चाहिए, जितनी जिसकी जो भाषा है उसके ऊपर काम करना चाहिए। प्राइमरी एजुकेशन या जो लोअर लेवल की एजुकेशन है इससे लेवल की, उसको हमें बच्चे की मदर टंग में ही देना चाहिए। हर लैंग्वेज की इंपॉर्टेंस को समझना चाहिए। तो ये सारी चीजें बहुत हाईलाइट की गई हैं, जिसमें हमारे देश की विविधता को एकता के साथ जोड़ने की बात की जा रही है। हम किसी भाषा को खत्म करके इस एकता को नहीं बना सकते, या किसी एक भाषा को सुप्रीम बोलकर नहीं बना सकते। हर भाषा की अपनी इंपॉर्टेंस है। तो हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि ये भाषा दूसरी भाषा से बेटर है इसलिए इसको सबको अडॉप्ट कर लेना चाहिए। सारी भाषाएं अपने आप में इंपॉर्टेंट है, सबको एक साथ लेकर चलना है। और यही बात कल्चर्स की है। हमारी कंट्री में जो रिच वैरायटी ऑफ कल्चर है, इस कल्चर को एक साथ लेकर हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि महाराष्ट्र का गणेश उत्सव और बंगाल का जो दुर्गा पूजा है वो गणेश उत्सव बेटर है, दुर्गा पूजा कम बेटर है, या दुर्गा पूजा बेटर है गणेश उत्सव कम। नहीं, हम कंपेयर कर ही नहीं सकते, करना भी नहीं सकते। सबकी अपनी अपनी इंपॉर्टेंस है, यही भाषाओं में भी है। और इवन हम तो साइन लैंग्वेज की बात करते हैं, हम तो उन भाषाओं की बात कर रहे हैं जो शायद अभी जिनकी लिपि नहीं है। आप जाते हैं नॉर्थ ईस्ट की कुछ भाषाएं ऐसी हैं जिनकी कोई लिपि नहीं है, लेकिन वो बोली जाती हैं। वो भाषाएं हैं, विद्यमान है, और क्योंकि लिपि नहीं है इसलिए मर रही हैं। अब उनको भी जीवित करने की बातचीत चल रही है। तो ये तो एक बड़ा रिच कल्चर और रिच हेरिटेज हमारा है, जिसको आगे लेके चलना है। एनईपी ने बड़ा कैटेगरी के लिए इसको कहा है। इसीलिए हम जो पहले कहते थे 3 लैंग्वेज फार्मूला, उससे थोड़ा और ऊपर चढ़कर एनईपी बात करती है कि बहुत सारी लैंग्वेजेस बच्चे को सीख लेनी चाहिए अगर बच्चा सीख सकता है। लेकिन उसकी जो शिक्षा है वो उसकी मदर टंग में हो। लेकिन अंग्रेजी सीखना चाहता है, क्योंकि अंग्रेजी अगर हमारे एम्प्लॉयमेंट की भाषा है, उससे लगता है कि बेटर एम्प्लॉयमेंट मिल सकता है, तो अंग्रेजी भी सिखाई जानी चाहिए। लगता है कि संस्कृत से हम अपने पुराने जितने हमारे ग्रंथ हैं, जितनी हमारी किताबें, उनको हम समझ सकते हैं, अच्छे से उसकी विवेचना कर सकते हैं, उनके ऊपर आगे और कार्य कर सकते हैं, संस्कृत सीखनी चाहिए। तो ये सभी भाषाओं की अपनी अपनी इंपॉर्टेंस है, जिसको जो इंपॉर्टेंट लगता है वो सीखे। बहुत सारी भाषाएं सीखें, हम बहुत सारी भाषाओं के और इंटरकल्चरली काम करें। ये बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट आपने उठाया था। थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक्स ए लॉट।
Sir, I request you to please stay with us only for 2 minutes more.
कृतज्ञता महसूस करना और इसे व्यक्त न करना ठीक ऐसा ही है जैसे कि किसी उपहार को ढके रखना और उसे किसी को ना देना। कृतज्ञता हमारी ऊर्जा एवं जीवन को सकारात्मकता से युक्त करता है। नमस्कार, मैं डॉक्टर विनीता, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट, आर्य महिला पीजी कॉलेज। आज शिक्षक पर्व 2022 के महत्वपूर्ण उपलक्ष्य पर आयोजित इस कार्यक्रम में हमारे मुख्य वक्ता प्रोफेसर अनूप कुमार राजपूत सर, एनसीईआरटी। अगर मैं कहूँ, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करना चाहूंगी मैम सर। और आपसे अच्छा विकल्प इस कार्यक्रम को सेलिब्रेट करने का हमें नहीं मिल सकता था, क्योंकि हम सभी शिक्षा से जुड़े हुए हैं। ये एक ऐसा विषय था जिसपे बहुत से डाउट्स हैं और कह सकते हैं कि हमें बहुत ज्यादा जानकारी की जरूरत है। तो सर आपने जिस तरह से इस विषय को हमारे समक्ष रखा वो न केवल प्रेरणादायी था अपितु हम सभी के लिए विचारों प्रेरक था। हम सभी एनईपी 2020 के अनिवार्य गुण के रूप में क्षमता आधारित शिक्षा को बेहतर प्रारूप में समझ पाने में निश्चित रूप से अब ज्यादा सक्षम महसूस कर रहे हैं अपने को, और एनईपी के विकासात्मक लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त करने हेतु अवश्य निर्धारक जो मानक है उन पर कार्य करने के लिए प्रयासरत होंगे। धन्यवाद सर, आपने अपने व्यस्ततम समय में से हमारे इस कार्यक्रम के लिए जो समय दिया उसके लिए आपका बहुत बहुत आभार। धन्यवाद सर। किसी संस्था के सफलता एवं विकास के लिए संस्था प्रमुख की भूमिका निर्णायक होती है, अतः इस कार्यक्रम के लिए हमारे प्रबंधक डॉक्टर शशिकांत निश्चित सर तथा प्राचार्य प्रोफेसर रचना दुबे मैम की प्रेरणा, निर्देशन एवं सहयोग बहुत ही आवश्यक था और उन्हीं उसी की वजह से ये संभव पाया ये कार्यक्रम का सफलतम आयोजन। आप दोनों को ही मैं अपने विभाग की तरफ से धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करती हूँ। आगे अगर मैं देखूं तो हमारे ही विभाग की डॉक्टर आरती मैम, डॉक्टर नमिता सिन्हा मैम, डॉक्टर अनीता अग्रवाल मैम, डॉक्टर पूनम, डॉक्टर जया, डॉक्टर धनजीत, इन सभी को इस कार्यक्रम की तैयारी में सहयोग हेतु धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगी। साथ ही साथ हमारे साथ इस कार्यक्रम में ऑफलाइन ऑनलाइन अलग अलग तरीकों से हमारे महाविद्यालय के शिक्षकगण तथा गैर शैक्षणिक वर्ग भी जुड़े हुए हैं, इसलिए मैं उन्हें भी धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगी। और हमारी प्यारी छात्राएं जो कि उनको विशेष धन्यवाद दूंगी क्योंकि बड़े उत्साह से वो कार्यक्रम में प्रतिभाग किया उन्होंने और तन्मयता से इस विषय को सुना। आशा करती हूँ कि आप सभी अपने भावी जीवन एवं अध्यापन क्षेत्र में इन बिंदुओं पर कार्य करेंगी। और अंत में मीडिया सेल, आर्य महिला पीजी कॉलेज, पत्रकार बंधुओं का आभार क्योंकि वही इस कार्यक्रम को कल लोगों तक पहुंचाएंगे। आशा है कि आप अपने समाचार पत्र में इसको उचित स्थान अवश्य देंगे। अंत में अभी अंत नहीं है क्योंकि कार्यक्रम के संयोजक का डॉक्टर कौशल सिंह सर का धन्यवाद करना बाकी है, जिनके निर्देशन में यह कार्य अपने सफल निष्पादन को प्राप्त हुआ। तो कौशल सर आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद इस पूरे कार्यक्रम को सफलता पूर्वक संपन्न करने हेतु। धन्यवाद सर।
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your. Thank you.
Before we end this program, I would like to inform everyone to the feedback form that has been sent on the info message. It is important that everyone fill the form. And before we end the program, I would like everyone to stand up for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा, उच्चल जलधि तरंगा, तव शुभ नामे जागे, तब शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तब जय गाथा, जन गण मंगल गाथा।